Turn your mics on.
Turning you on, Chris.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
I'd like to call this special town board meeting to order. Purpose is basically to talk about highway trucks and probably the CSEA contract. Please rise. We'll pledge the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Okay, at this time, I'll turn it over to purchase of the trucks to Chris Giuliano.
Okay, so we've been working diligently over quite some time here with the need to purchase some trucks. From the last meeting last week, we all agreed that we had to get 3 potential bids on financing through the process. Originally, it was going to looking at a governmental lease. When we started going back to the governmental lease, we had 3 bids regarding that. The biggest issue that we found was our town attorneys, both Shane and Doug, refused to do any of the legwork for those for the governmental leases, and they preferred bonds. Todd and Melissa went back to the drawing board and started working on bonds, but we also, when I was there yesterday, they were making phone calls to get some other attorneys that work on governmental leases and get pricing, and those numbers can be anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000 to review. I guess there's a huge review process with the lease program, so they called a few, in my presence, a few other attorneys that do that, and they said there's approximately about 50 hours at least to review these documents. So when we started going back, and we ended up getting 3 bids on the bonds, the best one was at 1.9, which they actually came down from 1.95 to 1.9 because there's a change in the market on that. Works into our favor, and with the cost, it's a statutory bond rather than a serial bond. Basically, we shouldn't incur any yearly costs that we have with some of our serial bonds that are already on the town. So we'll have our upfront cost. Doug Goodfriend has an estimated cost of approximately $3,200 to review the bond process. From what I understand, these bonds are basically almost right out of a template that they go, so it's pretty straightforward. With the rate coming down, it's going to actually work out the actual physical cost going with the bond, even though the rate's lower. It's going to be a little bit more, but the actual cost to get it in play rather than going with the governmental lease and paying that $10,000 to $15,000, we're going to be well ahead at the end of the day. There's no additional cost per year to the town incur with a statutory bond.
The upfront money, you had to talk about the upfront money, how we do that?
Yeah, so we have an upfront on the, let me pull my other notes here. So there would be an upfront cost, which would be for the first year. Just make sure we got the right one here. Make sure loan event, cash flow. We'd have a payment of $95,194.36 on that. And then, like I said, we would also have to, with this, approve up to $3,200, or he gave a range. He said really between $32,000 and $4,000 being the worst case scenario. So we may want to give a little cushion on Doug's, the attorney's evaluation on there.
And that's for both trucks.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's a 5-year installment.
5-year, yes.
Now, you said the first payment due is in 2021?
That's correct.
Okay.
On
I'm just
here.
trying to be sure which year.
Yep.
When's the first payment?
Oh, no, hold on one second.
No, that's not true.
Another 20, hold on, let me make sure I got the right one, because I had 3 different versions here. Payment loan, $450, payment, $95,194.36 on 3/25/21. Let's see, totals here, Yeah, the first payment would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's going to drop down. And the fifth one would be on the 2025. Is that correct there?
No.
Hold on a second, because I'm looking at my sheet on the one that we had here printed out, so there might be a... Just get this, let me see if...
Just to correct yourself, Chris, it's not a bid,
Okay.
those were quotes, okay?
RFPs.
Yeah, RFP.
Oh, you know what?
The payments, we
one
can
did it. Alright,
select
this
when
one
the
changed
payments
here.
are.
This
The
is the
March
one
that
that-
Chris
Yeah.
is talking about, I talked to them this afternoon.
Let me get in here, I didn't get a
The
chance to
paperwork
check
that he
back.
has would be March 25th of 2021. We can make a payment this year if we want to, instead of going 5 years from 2021 and then 5 years added on to that, or we can do a payment when the trucks come in. Say, I'm just picking a date, say November 5th, the trucks came in, that's when we can actually make the payment on the trucks and make our first payment on this bond and stuff. Also, Douglas Goodfriend, who's the person we talked to about doing the bond, the resolution and stuff, he's actually the person that works with Green Community Bank, who we're looking at financing. They have a good relationship, and these people are very flexible with payment dates and stuff like that with us. They sit down with Ray, being the CFO for the town, to do all the paperwork and the payment schedules and all that stuff.
So why would we pay in advance of 6 months of receiving a truck?
The interest rates.
But I'm saying, why,
We don't have to pay that now. We could pay it when the trucks come in November.
but I'm saying the payment's not going to the manufacturer.
No.
No, it's going to the financing.
Because then you would have less interest.
It's got to come up to the microphone. You can't talk from the audience.
So you'd end up paying less interest overall.
But I'm saying the
Because
bond
you
is
would-
actually being created today. Where's that money? It's just sitting at the bank and we're paying interest on it?
As soon as the paperwork's done, then that money goes into our bank account, and then we can do the payments or whatever. We can do the one lump sum to the manufacturer when the trucks come in November, but then our payments can start whenever when Ray sits down, does the paperwork with Bank of Greene County, with the representative from that bank.
See, if you, the money we get is for the trucks.
Yes.
So,
So once the paperwork is done, then Bank of Greene County would, once the bond goes through the paperwork, the signatures and stuff, Bank of Greene County would give the check to the town, put it in the town's bank account, coffers, whatever you want to
Yeah,
call it.
put it in a
Then when
reserve
the trucks
fund.
come in, then we pay for the trucks with the money that the bank gave us, and then that's when Ray would pick a date, whatever, for the payments of for the trucks at that time.
Yeah.
We can pick and choose. We can make our first payment, like I said, November, or we can wait until the March date that they
Of
propose.
2021.
2021.
yeah,
And it's not going to affect the interest rate. Once we do this paperwork and stuff, we are locked in to that 1.90. They actually
So-
went down.
So then, to answer your question, I think the only reason to do it earlier is if it was before December 31st, was that we would be a year ahead budget-wise.
Yes.
Yeah. But then we would also
We
be
would pay
making,
it off in 2024 instead of
if it's
2025.
sitting
Well,
in an
we
account
can't-
that's designated and it's earning interest, we're kind of offsetting some of that too.
So one of the things, and correct me unless something changed here, the bond cannot be paid off
Early.
early.
Yeah,
So,
no.
so at that
No.
point, the last payment is 2025 on these trucks regardless. So at that point, there is really no benefit. I don't think we're saving any interest because it's already predetermined.
Yeah.
So we're really deferring out to March
You can pay it
March
early,
of
but
2021.
you get no benefit for paying it early.
That's correct.
basically.
That's correct.
Yeah.
The other question I was asking was, we would have to, if we say did it in November, like he was saying, we have to pay the interest. And I don't know what the interest number is, I'm guessing.
1.9.
No, in physical dollars, it's
actual
like
dollars.
35,000 or 2,500 or some number like that. So we'd have to have that in the budget someplace. That's all I'm saying. We gotta have that money in advance. Because when you pay, you normally pay principal and interest.
There was no mention of that. It was just,
You gotta pay the interest sometime. So when do I get,
Well,
what schedule is the interest schedule?
so the $95,000 payment, the 5 of them will add up to more than the $450,000.
Yeah, they add up to the
Yeah.
475.
included.
I
It sounds
know.
to me like that's
That's
principal
already
and
included
interest.
in.
Yeah, I understand, but
It's
from
interest
our
included,
standpoint,
actually.
in our budget, we don't have the interest. We're getting the 450,000 from the bank.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're feeding them back their money.
Yes, I see what
Which it is 90,000 or whatever the number is. And we still have to add to that
Yes.
the interest number out of our town funds. That's all I'm saying.
Yep.
And, there's been no discussion on, where's it coming from?
No, it even gives us more impetus to start working on budgets and reserve funds and all that stuff, and
Yeah,
help you figure out options, all right?
I've also been working with Maggie with Houlihan's office, the payroll office, on some of the numbers and stuff. So, the first payment we have, it's in the highway budget, or not the budget, but the highway balance. There is money in there for that first payment. And then I figured we can budget it throughout. I mean, I'm flexible. I'm willing to work with you guys any which way possible to make this work.
So basically, if we were able to take the first payment out of whatever the fund balance is of the highway, then we wouldn't have to figure out having to come up with a second payment until 2022.
Correct.
that basically defers it 2 years, yeah.
Okay.
Not defers. the
But
payment,
it gives us time to
gives-
figure
Gives
this
us time
out.
to figure this
Yes.
out.
Yeah. I don't know what the numbers are, so I can't look at it, because I didn't look at that perspective. Yeah, I know there's money in the surplus. I know
Yeah.
that. I know.
The thing we're trying to get done tonight is so we can do the letter of intent.
Right, no, I
Okay?
understand.
And
Because
approval of the trucks.
if we don't do that much, then we won't see
We're-
the trucks till after we need them.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well into next year.
I think we're already going to see them after we need them.
We're pushing the envelope now.
Yeah.
Now, the only other thing which, and I did a quick peek through the back here, nowhere in here does it say buying off a state bid. That should be in some of this approval thing here, only so that people don't say, well, where's the 3 bids or something like that.
It is off,
I understand, but I don't see the words.
it's off the sheet I sent to you guys. That was a spec sheet.
Not on the
Not on the
words
bond,
that I
but on the
see
spec
here.
sheet for the trucks themselves.
I-
It's off New York State
I
bid
under-
pricing, and it's also
I'm
off
not
the.
questioning that.
Yeah.
I'm just
We'll add
saying
it.
it's not on any of these resolutions.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
We can add that on there.
Yeah,
It's New York State bid pricing, and it's also off of, on piggyback and off of, instead of Dutchess County, it's called Onondaga County
Yeah.
contract
I-
bid pricing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're just going to add that in here.
I
Carol's
just want to
adding it
say,
right
just
now.
add it in someplace, that's all. I just don't want somebody coming back and
Yeah.
saying,
So it's actually off of 2 federal contracts,
no, it's state
or
contracts.
state contracts.
Yeah.
Okay,
Where did you add it after the first one?
yeah, the first one.
Okay, yeah, I don't care, I just wanted to have it someplace.
It's okay. Politics is politics.
Any other questions?
Aren't you glad we're not brain surgeons?
Yeah.
You're okay.
Okay, yeah, I support it, I'm not against it, I just want to have certain
All right,
words
so
in there.
Chris, why don't you make the resolution?
Motions.
Motion? Okay. So want to make a motion to approve the following resolution. Be it resolved that the town board approve, hired the first one, hiring Doug Goodfriend of Oric, Harrington, and Sutcliffe LLP at a cost not to exceed $3,200 as the attorney to manage the $450,000 installment bond
Well, did you
for,
want to amend that to 4,000?
yes, I'm sorry. Okay, so we'll amend that, so we're gonna,
Well, just say 4,000.
4,000 maximum,
Not to exceed 4,000.
not to exceed 4,000, okay. 4,000, as the attorney to manage the $450,000 installment bond for the purchase of the 2 2021 HV 507 International Highway trucks with attachments and warranty off of the state bid.
Second.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
I'd like to thank you guys.
Thank you for all the work you did. We're not done yet.
Not
Go
done.
to the second one, ready? Okay, just want to make sure everyone's ready here. I'd like to make a motion to approve the following resolution. Be it resolved that the town board approve resolution number, do we have an actual number on that yet?
No.
No,
We'll put in after, okay, of 2020 titled Bond Resolution Authorizing the Issuance of $450,000 bonds of the town of Clinton, Dutchess County, New York, to pay the cost of the purchase of highway maintenance trucks for said town. Any second?
Second?
I got one comment. I
Okay.
think we might want to add, just not leaving bonds by itself, but
Okay.
add the word statutory, because there are serial bonds, there's all kinds of bonds,
Okay, so you want to
just
put,
in front of bonds.
Okay,
put
so-
statutory.
so it'll be then, bond resolution authorizing the issuance of $450,000 statutory bonds.
Right. Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, and we got one more here. Make a motion to approve the following resolution. Be it resolved that the town board approve Councilman Giuliano sending a letter of intent to Arkel Motors and Amthor for the purchase of 2 highway maintenance trucks, attachments, and warranty approved by the resolution of 2020 upon receipt of the bonded funds from Bank of Greene County. Second?
Is there a second?
Second.
I just have a question.
Okay.
Do you have the authority to do that approval of an intent letter? I personally just don't know.
I'm not sure.
I think if we give it to him, he
I
does.
think if we vote
I
in
don't
favor
know.
of it, we-
I'm just saying.
I think
don't
if we give it, to
kind of authority are you
Well, generally, the supervisor with the financial controls signs almost most legal financial
The only
documents.
thing that Arkell Motors asked for was a letter of intent from the town board. That's what they needed to
Okay,
go forward
yeah.
with purchasing this and
Would you
get this
feel
on the
more
assembly
comfortable
line
if it was
and
the
get it moving.
supervisor being
I
the
don't
one
think
who
they
had the money,
care
financial
whose
power?
signature it is, it's
No,
just a letter of intent
It's just
from
the
the town
point that,
board.
I
Yeah.
just didn't know the way it was worded. I assumed I was gonna sign
Yeah,
the
it-
letter, so that's
They
why.
just asked
So
the
1.5
letter of
dozen
intent
ideas.
from the
Do you
town
want to
board.
sign it? I
If
have
you
no
wanna
problem.
write
That's-
it, you can write
write
it.
it and
Doesn't
sign
matter.
it.
so amend it to
Yeah.
I'm-
supervisor.
Supervisor over.
Yeah.
It's not a, it
Yeah.
is, what- all right,
This
so.
must be
I'm gonna
done
amend-
tomorrow, right?
Yes, I'd like, if I.
It has to be
I
done
know
by
I'm
the end of
pushing-
February,
Pushing
right?
you guys here, but,
So-
yeah, by tomorrow if I can. I know nobody's
I'll be
here
in tomorrow morning.
Okay.
So I'm going to amend my motion to approve the following resolution. Be it resolved that the town board approve Supervisor Oberly sending a letter of intent to Arkel Motors and Amthor for the purchase of 2 highway maintenance trucks, attachments, and warranty approved by the resolution upon receipt of the bonded funds from the Bank of Greene County. Second?
Second, yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
It has to be written tomorrow, though.
Yes, I can write tomorrow. Okay, the next one is CSEA contract. Is there discussion that anybody wants to talk about?
I put it on there just in case.
Sure.
you guys
Yeah.
were ready.
So if no discussion, I make a motion, be it resolved that the town board approves the town board contract between Town of Clinton and the Highway Workers CSEA Local 1000, AFSCME, AFL-CIO, as amended in our meeting, effective January 1st, 2020 to December 31st, 2022. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Just-
We'll all say second.
I just have a comment there. I think the wording, we really approved the MOU.
Okay.
What we were approving, not the contract, because we didn't see the full contract.
Well, the full contract is as it was
With
with those
I had
amendments of the
comments-
MOU.
I had some comments and additions that we made to it. So I'm just,
So that's what I'm saying, as we've amended it in our executive session.
as we discussed the changes, so that's the only reason I was concerned there. Okay, so who's going to make the final document?
It's done.
Did it, or you'll do it?
I'll finish it.
You'll finish it?
I made these last changes, so I have them on Word, so I can finish them.
Okay.
And then I'll send it to both Shane and Doug to review it,
Review, and then we sign it.
and then we'll sign it.
Okay,
So you have a motion and a second?
right.
All in
All
favor?
in favor?
Aye.
Nancy, did you say aye?
Oh, I said aye.
Oh, I didn't hear it, that's all.
Oh, aye.
Can I, quick talk about?
I just have one question on this. So, does this mean now we can go back, Melissa can go back now and retro pay them from the beginning of the year? Or you
January
guys-
1st.
January 1st, or do you guys want to wait?
No, it says January
Okay.
1st, but
So-
We gotta
It hasn't-
sign,
it hasn't
we haven't
been
signed
signed yet.
anything.
Okay,
sign
so
it
you want us to wait?
We'll tell you when to start.
Okay, I'm just making sure. You guys are anxious.
I know. Any other business
Yeah,
before the town?
Can I just quickly talk
Sure.
about the painting RFP? We kind of had a pre-discussion earlier, but it has to be done before our next meeting. So I got two people that responded to the RFP, but said that they were no longer, they had previously been, but they are no longer lead certified because when lead paint was
Lead
banned,
paint, yeah.
when lead paint was banned in 1976, it was a really popular thing to do, but most buildings don't have it anymore, and so a lot of guys aren't paying the over $500 a year to be recertified every year. And one of them mentioned that he thought that when the building got moved here, that the lead paint was removed. So then we did some research on it. I had Pete Sotaro look into it. And what they did when they moved the building was they scraped all loose paint. It was lead. They cleaned it up, and then they moved the buildings. So not all of it was removed. However, they found that the law in New York State does not require us to have somebody that's certified for lead paint on this building, because this is considered an office building. It doesn't generally have children under 6 years old in it, and that's where most of the requirements are, is buildings that have kids. And so they recommended that we don't require the bids to be from somebody certified for lead paint. However, we will ask them to scrape any loose paint and treat it as if it has lead in it and take care of it accordingly. I also then sent their emails to Lewis and had him weigh in with his opinion, and he agreed that we don't need somebody that's certified for lead. So I got 3 opinions, 2 from our engineer and 1 from Lewis. And so I just wanted to see if I had the approval of the board to call the people who have put in, who honestly haven't put in bids because they weren't certified anymore, but they want to put in bids.
Sure.
And let them to do it. And if we may need to at the meeting, then have a motion, I assume, changing the RFP to accept somebody that isn't lead certified. But we can work on that when we get it.
Yeah.
Great. So I will make those emails tonight.
We approve.
Thank you.
Any more business before the town?
I'll just make a comment. I mean, I know how hard that Melissa worked, so, and I think Carol had some help to do with that. At last minute crunch time, you guys really did a lot of extra work, and I commend you for it.
Thank you, guys.
I spent a couple hours, I seen these guys working over the past few days on that. Yeah, they definitely, she was on the phone nonstop when I was there for 2 hours trying to making notes and stuff, so yeah, it's a lot of work went into that. Excellent job.
Okay?
Okay. I make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. See you at the town board meeting.